Weird singing going on in those woods.
Oh, I hear you.
When you're miles from civilization, isolation isn't just a feeling. From the chilling sound of a human scream echoing through the Ontario woods, to a shadowy figure passing your doorway in a derelict farmhouse, these moments prove that some silences are meant to be broken. If the darkness started talking back to you, would you wait for an answer, or would you get out before it's too late? Kurt runs the YouTube channel Snow, and Kurt a platform that documents long-term overland travel and full-time van life across remote regions of the Americas. His content often highlights self-reliance vehicle-based living and the unpredictable risks that come with calling a van home. On July 10th, 2023, the couple chose to spend time in Chile, expecting it to be another chapter in the journey they had been living for 4 years. After a long and exhausting day of driving, the couple pulled over and parked along a quiet roadside, expecting nothing more than a few hours of rest. While they slept inside their van, the stillness of the night was suddenly broken by chaos around them.
Alright guys, no doubt about it. Our scariest moment in the van. Voice is shaking, it's taking us a minute to get the camera. Oh, you alright, Kurt?
Yeah.
Middle of the night. I don't even know what time it is. It's
not that late.
It's only 10 o'clock. I don't know if y'all can see it, but we just woke up to someone banging on the window. Our 3M security film worked, but our window is shattered. We need to duct tape this. We'll be back in a minute. Definitely our scariest moment in the van. Oh, he almost got in. Oh, I'm shaking.
Me too.
Get the daylight out of them.
Oh, wow. That was scary.
Alright. We gotta figure out what to do now. Clearly, first thing in the morning, I have to find a place to get a new window.
Late at night, without warning, a heavy impact struck the side window of their van. The force of the hit jolted them awake, hearts racing as they tried to understand what had just happened. They turned toward the sound and saw the glass crack, thin fractures spreading quickly across the window. In that moment, the peaceful stop turned into a tense camping encounter. By morning, the shattered glass still clung to the frame, broken, but not fully collapsed, much like their sense of safety. The van that had carried them across borders, deserts, and mountain roads had always felt like a safe space. But that night, it felt exposed. What would have happened if the glass had shattered completely, if fear had turned into something worse? Those questions stayed with them long after they drove away. Despite everything, they continued their journey. It became a reminder that even in the vast beauty of the Americas, safety can be as fragile as a sheet of glass, and sometimes the line between adventure and danger is only one strike away. Moments like this camping encounter leave behind questions that are difficult to ignore. In a place that quiet, would you trust the silence or leave before something happens again? Beacon is a US-based urban exploration channel known for investigating abandoned houses, underground tunnels, basements, and long-forgotten locations. Their content is not strictly paranormal, but their raw and unscripted style often captures unsettling moments, unexplained sounds, unusual movement, and the real dangers that come with entering deteriorating structures. On January 14th, 2026, the team enters an abandoned observatory somewhere in the United States. What begins as a typical urban exploration slowly shifts into something far more unsettling.
Billy, can I hit your wintergreen, my dude? Yeah, this place is massive. Holy shit, dude.
Oh yeah, that's something, right?
We going in?
See?
I feel like we have to go in.
Alright, well, let's see.
You going first? Yeah, you got the better light, man.
Only one way to go is up.
Keep your flashlights away from the windows, guys.
Oh, yeah, so this is an old crawling granny up here. I'm not gonna crawl. Oh, you good?
I'm not gonna crawl.
There's a lot of different entryway points. There's a lot of different ways we can get out of here if we need to. Do it.
Can I just stop for a second?
What the is that?
There's a titties. That's a battery. Motherboard of some sort.
Hold the possession. 2 seconds. Hold on. Against the wall.
As they descend into the basement levels, the explorers quickly describe the layout as massive and disorienting. Boiler room-like spaces connect to narrow branching corridors, and every turn looks nearly identical. They pause frequently to listen and reassess. The discussion centers around possible exits, entry points, and how easily someone could get lost underground. In a place like this, the deeper they go, the more the structure starts to feel like a maze.
Okay.
Holy shit. What was that noise, though?
No, we're good, bro.
No, but what was that noise? Was that one of you guys?
No.
Huh?
No.
Soon, something small captures their attention. A nearby hanging object starts to sway on its own. The group immediately stops. Flashlights focus on it. Cameras move in closer to confirm the motion. No one is close enough to have touched it. There is no visible airflow and no clear explanation. They check with each other, but no one claims responsibility. The atmosphere shifts. Casual curiosity turns into visible unease. Whether the movement was natural or not remains unclear.
What was it? That gong? What was it? I have it, dude. I've been recording for 16 minutes.
Demons and shit, they like to mock the Trinity. Alright? And we were just joking about demons and all that garbage.
The pain's almost gone. It's just on my 2 seconds.
Not long after, loud pounding sounds echo from somewhere nearby. The noises are strong and deliberate, unlike the normal settling sounds of an old structure. They try to explain it: metal shifting ice, moving structural stress, but none of the ideas fully satisfy them. The mood changes completely. Earlier humor fades, replaced by talk of negative energy. One member quietly begins to pray. Frozen surfaces and unstable floors slow their progress. What started as a relaxed visit to an abandoned observatory becomes tense and uncomfortable. Unexplained noises, unexplained movement, a confusing underground layout, and real physical dangers from ice and decay leave them without clear answers. As the tension continues to build, the team decides not to go any deeper. They leave the property. Would you have stayed longer to look for answers, or walked away the moment the atmosphere shifted? This encounter comes from Exploring with Brad, where Brad records his outdoor experiences, camping, hiking, and exploring locations across Ontario, often tied to eerie folklore and paranormal legends. On February 19, 2026, Brad set out on another solo trip, this time into a forest, locally connected to the legend of the Blue Man, a place long linked to strange stories and an unsettling reputation. At first, the trip felt routine, another quiet night planned in the wilderness surrounded only by trees and winter silence. Yet from the beginning, there was a faint tension in the air, a subtle uneasiness that stayed with him. What was meant to be a peaceful overnight escape would soon turn into something far more disturbing, leading Brad to a chilling realization that in the wilderness, you are never truly alone.
But this place is basically plagued by this phenomenon known as the Blue Man. And get this party started. So let's go, guys. So we're going in. So today I got 2 Dollarama tarps today and some string. This forest has always given me nightmares as a little kid. And nobody really knows. Nobody really knows for sure if it exists, this phenomenon and stuff. It's definitely something that's worth looking into. Oh, nice. Somebody left a walking stick. Now there's that. We see some tracks here. That's definitely an animal. Or creature of some kind. Those are quite big, too. Look at that. Maybe a deer? I don't know. Okay, so that's just a person or a snowmobile or sled or something like that. I accidentally put the light in my eyes. That wasn't fun, was it? Okay, we're going to... Whew. Oh, I hear heard it again, but I heard like movement, like there was running. And like a bird-like creature. Like it sounds like some sort of, like basically a raptor bird. That's what that sounded like. I heard that running though. I don't know if the camera picked it up or not. Coming from over here. Okay, I'll go down.
While moving deeper into the forest, a sudden hissing or snarling sound broke the silence. It seemed animal-like, but unfamiliar. He sensed movement again, though nothing clear was captured. Assuming it was wildlife, Brad ignored the disturbance and continued to his campsite. After arriving, he finished setting up his shelter, deliberately leaving a small opening at the top.
Just show you the opening because I have to go in the snow to kind of show it, but a few walls up. Obviously, if it rains, I'm out of luck because I left an opening at the top, but I kind of wanted that and stuff, so.
Once camp was ready, he collected firewood and started a small fire. For a while, nothing unusual happened. The forest stayed quiet, almost unnaturally still. Eventually, exhaustion from the day caught up with him. He lay down inside his tent and fell asleep, leaving his spirit talker device running beside him. Later in the middle of the night, he was suddenly awakened.
We were butchered with our stomachs empty. Pieces of my body scattered. Will you help me find them?
It sounded like something was on the other side of my... It sounded like something was on the other side of my tent. That scared the hell out of me. There's something out there. Hello?
Loud knocking sounds echoed outside the tent, followed by softer tapping. Then a sharp, piercing scream cut through the silence of the forest. The sound seemed human rather than animal, and instantly brought him fully awake. Fear rose as he tried to understand what had happened. He looked outside, but saw no one and nothing that could explain the scream. Staying alert, he scanned the area around his tent and noticed something unusual, small wooden egg-shaped objects placed near the corner of his campsite. The sight made his fear worse.
And I found this outside my tent. They look like little wooden eggs. I can't stay here. There's something out there. We better go. I better go. I can't stay here. That was creepy. Alright, so we're gonna get out of here. First, I might do an explore of the other side. We haven't checked it out yet, so into this aimlessly, you know. Hold on here.
Soon after, another disembodied voice echoed through the darkness, sounding intentional and directed at him. Overwhelmed by anxiety, he chose to pack up and leave instead of staying any longer. As he got ready to leave, the unsettling voice returned, echoing again through the trees. While walking along the trail, he realized that a piece of wood he remembered hanging earlier was no longer there. Shortly after, he heard what sounded like someone crying and screaming for help somewhere in the forest. Instinctively, he moved toward the sound, calling out into the darkness, but no one answered. The woods remained silent and empty.
Yo, there's a break, but I remember that there was actually a piece of wood dangling. It's not there anymore. Hello? Oh my goodness. I don't know what's going on. I could hear somebody screaming help. Sounded like some guy. Okay, let's go. Let's go check it out. Oh man. Hello? Someone out there? Weird.
As he continued forward, the distorted cries returned, mixing desperate pleas with frantic screams. Isolation pressed in on him. A deep sense of dread formed as the events of the night began to connect the earlier hissing the scream outside his tent, the deliberate knocking, and the voice that seemed to speak directly to him. Trusting that instinct, Brad abandoned his exploration and moved quickly along the trail, creating as much distance as possible between himself and the forest. Some might say fear can distort ordinary sounds, especially in isolation, while others may wonder if something more intentional was happening. If you had been in that forest, would you have stayed to look for answers or left the moment the sounds began? The Flex Tapes is a UK-based exploration channel known for entering abandoned, isolated locations. On February 13, 2023, he finds himself inside a remote farmhouse set in the middle of rural British farmland. Upstairs in a cold, dust-covered bedroom, he lies awake. Sounds that would seem harmless, anywhere else suddenly feel deliberate. The bedroom door remains open. He listens carefully, and just before the first unexplained noise breaks the silence, he senses a subtle shift in the atmosphere. Then it happens. A man walks directly past the open doorway. There is no doubt about what he saw. Instinct takes over. He immediately turns off every light and lowers himself as quietly as possible, making sure not to create any sound.
See, I was hiding down, I slid down there as much as I could.
Right, so luckily I had no lights on, so that won't giving away that anyone was in there. I mean, you can't see it. I haven't bumped into anyone. I know I've got the torch, but if I see someone now, I'm just thinking it's a walker, and I'm not in the house, so I'm pretty safe.
Eventually, he decides to leave. Slowly and carefully, he exits the farmhouse under the cover of darkness, listening to every movement as he walks away on foot. Halfway back to his vehicle, he stops. Several glowing eyes stare at him from a distant hillside. Panic rises again, but as his eyes adjust, he realizes they belong to sheep standing silently on the slope above. When you are alone in a place like that, even a single sighting can change everything. Maybe it was simple trespassing, or maybe it was something more complex. If you had seen someone pass that doorway, would you have stayed hidden or walked straight out without looking back? Rickles Outdoors is a UK-based YouTube channel focused on solo camping bushcraft and immersive outdoor exploration. On January 13, 2024, Rick sets up camp in a remote woodland area in the United Kingdom, on public land near a working farm. As dusk settles, he prepares his winter campsite and eats a simple meal beside the fire. The forest remains still and quiet, with only natural ambient sounds moving through the woodland. At this stage, everything feels calm, isolated, and completely normal. There is no visible danger, no sign that this peaceful overnight trip is about to turn into something unsettling.
The muffled lady's voice right behind me. Jumped up, I couldn't see anyone. Well, I'm back in the car, knackered. Yeah, I keep hearing these voices, like moaning type sound. Okay, but then it sounded a bit odd. And I hear this like muffled sound from a woman going, like that. What the hell? I was in the middle of nowhere, pitch black.
Then, without warning, a low moaning sound breaks the silence. At first, it resembles distant livestock from the nearby farm. However, something about it feels off. The unexplained noise lingers in the cold night air, and the quiet woodland begins to feel less like peaceful solitude and more like deep isolation. Staying alert, he scans the darkness around him and hears the muffled sound again, this time resembling a faint voice. Looking back toward where he had camped, he notices a glowing light in the distance. It appears to be a fire, and beside it a white light, possibly a lantern.
I wasn't sure. I was sitting there, eyes all around. Then I heard the man talking again, muffled sound. Away from where I camped, looked back, and I could see like a glowing light, like a fire, like maybe a lantern or something. So I reckon it could have been just a couple camping doing the same as I'm doing. But, you know, if I stayed there, I wouldn't got any sleep.
Deciding it may not be safe to remain, Rick begins packing his gear. He leaves the campsite and returns to his car. The following morning, he comes back to inspect the area in daylight. The woods appear empty and undisturbed, yet faint moaning sounds can still be heard somewhere in the distance. Whether the noise came from livestock, wildlife, or something else entirely remains uncertain. After reflecting on the experience, Rick believes leaving that night was the right decision. In places, this remote sound can travel in unusual ways, and isolation can amplify every detail. If you had been alone in that forest, would you have stayed to figure it out, or trusted your instincts and walked away? Joseph is a TikTok creator who rarely posts, and most of his content features simple, wholesome moments with his son, just everyday life. But among those uploads, there's one that feels completely different. While he was building a fence around his yard, a fence he said he felt the need to put up, he ended up capturing the exact reason behind it. And once you see it, it starts to make sense.
Look, dude, she couldn't find her way over there, so now she's over here. Do you see her? Look at that face. It's right there staring at me. Oh my god, dude. What the fuck? She's crawling through all this shit, bro.
Honestly, this is one of those clips that stays with you. Not because it's dramatic, but because it feels real. What makes it even more unsettling is that Joseph has a young son, and seeing that woman crawling through the bushes just to look into their yard changes everything. At first, it's hard to clearly understand what's happening, but once the image is zoomed in, it becomes obvious. The face and the way she stays low and hidden are difficult to ignore. Joseph also captured a still frame from another moment, which you can see here, and without overreacting, it really does give off those old witch folklore vibes, like something you might hear in stories. Small details like movement, posture, and timing can turn an ordinary moment into something much more unsettling, especially in situations that feel like a camping encounter where awareness matters. When someone moves like that and stays hidden, it changes how you see the situation. So if you were in his place, would you ignore it or do something to protect your space? The following clip was discovered on Instagram, but it has been shared across multiple platforms in different formats, so it might already feel familiar. It shows a mountain biker riding with friends along a dirt trail built for speed. Tight turns, fast climbs, pure adrenaline. This type of trail usually feels isolated, but during a downhill section, as the rider comes in quickly around a bend, a group of people suddenly appears ahead. Everything changes within seconds, which is what makes this moment feel intense.
Whoa, 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 whoa! Shit! Blood! Are you okay? I'm so sorry.
Damn, bro.
Is everyone okay? Are you guys okay?
Get the dog.
It's okay. Did I hit the dog? Sorry, guys. Here, I'll help you look for some stuff. I am all good. I crash all the time. I just want to make sure you guys are okay. So, this isn't a legal trail. As you can see, there's no signs. It was made by bikers. If you do decide to hike up it, be careful. I should be careful too. I'm sorry. That's also on me. I hope, is he okay?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Do you need any?
One detail that stands out is the immediate apology, even though the situation was not entirely one-sided. At the same time, the trail had no markings, and the group had no way of knowing it was being used for high-speed downhill riding. To them, it likely seemed like just another path through the woods. Fortunately, the rider managed to slow down enough to avoid a direct collision. If contact had happened, the outcome could have involved serious injury or worse. The dog was unharmed, and a warning from behind helped stop other riders from entering the same situation. When there are no clear signs, both sides rely only on instinct in the moment. So in a situation like that, would it feel like an accident or something that could have been prevented? Jamie is a YouTuber who documents his rugged bikepacking and van camping experiences on his channel, often capturing real and unpredictable camping encounter moments that feel raw and unfiltered. Unlike many van life creators who present a more polished lifestyle, his content focuses on the real challenge of finding a safe place to park for the night in his Volkswagen Transporter, where even a simple camping encounter can quickly turn uncomfortable. In February 2025, Jamie uploaded a video from a solo trip he took to the Norfolk countryside on a misty, rainy evening. After discovering that his original campsite was blocked by no overnight parking signs, he was forced to drive around in the dark searching for another location. He eventually stops along a remote stretch of Peter's Way, an ancient Roman road known for its extreme isolation. As soon as he begins setting up his cooking area, the tone of the trip starts to change.
Weird singing going on in those woods. I think I'm gonna cook my tea and fuck off.
Jamie mentions hearing unusual singing coming from deep within the woods. While most people might assume it was just the wind or an auditory illusion, he is visibly unsettled. Despite the strange sound, he tries to ignore the feeling and continues preparing his meal. At one point, he even considers walking into the woods to find the source of the noise, a decision that could have escalated the camping encounter even further. But as the rhythmic sounds continue, he begins to worry that he may be approaching some kind of gathering or a group of people in the middle of nowhere. Although he initially tries to push through by opening the back of the van, the uneasy feeling becomes overwhelming, and he decides to lock himself inside. As he prepares to sleep, he realizes the singing was not the only thing he should have been concerned about in this camping encounter.
Just got out of the van to have a piss. What the fuck is that? There's a light in the bloody woods now. I'll tell you what, fuck this.
Coming to the conclusion that he is likely being watched by someone or possibly more than one person, with a light source visible far from any nearby homes, he decides that staying overnight is no longer an option. He manages to leave the area safely. In that moment, would it be safer to stay and understand the situation, or leave before the camping encounter turns into something worse? The final clip in this compilation comes from a YouTube channel known as Co-T. Nowadays, it mainly shares music, but years earlier, it uploaded a wide range of different content. The footage we're watching was posted around 6 years ago, though it appears even older. That detail is only mentioned for context, as it clearly isn't something recent or created using modern technology. In the video, we see what looks like some kind of animal. However, the title describes it as full video of a supposed Skinwalker, which immediately shifts the interpretation into something far more uncertain and mysterious. We don't actually know what it is. It could simply be a case of mistaken identity, it could be staged, or it could just be an animal captured from an unusual angle. For a brief moment up close, it almost resembles a human figure lying on the ground, but the way it moves feels off. The crawl on all fours is fast, stiff, almost unnatural. After only a few movements, it slips behind a rock, and that's all there is. No clear continuation, no alternate angle. The video quality doesn't help at all, and the fact that it's older footage makes it even more difficult to analyze. And that's exactly why it lingers. There's just enough detail to trigger your imagination, but not enough to confirm anything. If a camping encounter like this left you with more questions than answers, would you trust what you saw or walk away before finding out more? That's all for tonight's video. Which encounter gave you chills? Let us know in the comments below. Got your own experience? We want to hear it. And whatever you do, don't miss what's coming next.